Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, What You Must Know About Health Canada Must Files to Protect Intellectual Property and Accelerate Approvals. I'm proud to introduce our expert speaker today, Megan Mora. Megan is a senior regulatory specialist with Registrar, assisting companies with FDA regulations and compliance for over 10 years. She specializes in must file submissions. Throughout this webinar, feel free to write any questions in the QA box, and we have saved time at the end to answer them. We'll also follow up with a link to the recording so you can refer back to this at any time. Without any further ado, Megan, take it away.
Thank you, May, for that introduction. In today's webinar, we will go over general information about master files and which regulatory agencies around the world use them. Then we will dive into Health Canada requirements, such as what types of documents are usually included, the fees that may be incurred, and an overview of how the submission process works. We will also briefly touch upon Electronic Common Technical Document, or eCTD format, which is a commonly used complex submission format. Registrar Corp is an industry's leader in assisting companies with compliance for various regulated products. We will share at the end how we can assist. So I'm going to start us off by going over the basics of what master files are and how they can be used to keep your information confidential. A master file is a voluntary filing to an agency in support of an application being reviewed by that agency for approval. So say, for example, you manufacture an active pharmaceutical ingredient, or API, and you have a customer that uses your API for a new drug product. Your customer will need to submit a new drug application to Health Canada for approval. Well, Health Canada is going to want to know all about the API used in those products, such as who makes it, where is it made, how is it made, etc. However, you don't want to provide all of your trade secret information to your customer for this application. This is where the master file comes in. You may file a master file about your product to Health Canada. Your customer can then request to reference the master file in support of their application, and then Health Canada can then see all the information they need from the master file without it ever being shared to your customer. So master files can also be submitted for different types of products as well, depending on what agency you're submitting to. The other types can be containers, excipients, flavors for a regulated product. Again, master files are voluntary and they're not required. They are not approved or disapproved. Instead, the application that's referencing them is what gets approved or disapproved. Master files can also be used in different types of agencies, such as biologics, foods, medical devices, and even tobacco. Now that you have an idea of how master files are used, we will cover who's who in the master file world. The company that submits the master file is called the master file holder. The company that represents the master file holder is the agent. While an agent may not be required for master files, it is often encouraged for foreign master file holders to assist with communications with the agency. The company that is the customer who is referencing the master file in their application is called the authorized party. Some agencies that accept master files are the United States Food and Drug Administration, the Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration, China's National Medical Products Administration, the European Medicines Agency, Health Canada, the Heads of Medicine Agency, which includes individual European agencies, the UK Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, the World Health Organization, and many more. Since we have covered some of the basics, we're now going to dive into Health Canada master file requirements. Health Canada accepts 5 types of master files. Type 1 is for active substances such as APIs, starting materials, or intermediates. Type 2 is for container closure systems used in the packaging of a drug product. Type 3 is for excipients such as coating ingredients, flavors, and additives. Type 4 is for dosage forms such as tablets, capsules, solutions, or creams that contain a drug substance. And type 5 may contain information on different processes, for example, sterilization or cleaning for products or a family of products manufactured at the same facility. What types of documents are usually included in a Health Canada master file? First, there is a cover letter that serves as an introduction to your submission, where you indicate the type of submission you're filing. Health Canada also requires an application form which includes administrative information. So basic contact information such as the company name, address, the contact person's email address and phone number for the master file holder, and the agent, if there is one, is provided on this form. If an agent is being appointed, then an agent appointment letter confirming that the holder is designating that agent for the master file is required. Typically, there is a statement of commitment confirming that the master file is current and accurate. If you have a customer that would like to reference your master file, a letter of access is required, which gives the agency permission to reference the master file in support of the customer's application. For the quality information, there's usually a table of contents included in each section to help the reviewer navigate through each section. General information about the product, including the manufacturing details, should also be provided. So please note that we have the types of documents for Health Canada here, but each agency is going to have its own list of requirements. Health Canada requires that Type 1 and Type 4 master files, so that is the API and the drug product master files, be divided into restricted and applicant's parts. The confidential information should only be included in the restricted part, which is viewed only by the agency. The applicant's part contains information that is non-confidential and may be reviewed by the applicant referencing the master file. An authorized party required to submit a master file to Health Canada? Actually, yes. In order to submit a new master file, there has to be at least one letter of access included in the submission. So you have to have at least one customer that wants to reference your product in their application before you can submit. Are there fees to file a master file? In some cases, yes. Health Canada does charge user fees for certain submission. For each new master file submission, Health Canada charges a new submission user fee. For each quality update, Health Canada charges a quality update user fee. For each letter of access, Health Canada charges a user fee for each letter. So each time that you have a new letter of access for a customer, or if you need to update a letter, for example, the customer's name has changed, then that user fee is going to be charged for that letter. The user fee is also increased annually each year by 2% on April 1st. Administrative changes such as the holder name change or an agent change do not incur a user fee. How are master files submitted? All submissions are done electronically through the US FDA's Electronic Submissions Gateway, Next Generation, or ESG NextGen portal. For existing master files, the formats that may be used are Electronic Common Technical Document format, or eCTD format, which is compiled in an expensive software, or Electronic Non-eCTD format. All new master files are required to be submitted in eCTD format. So what is the most common submission format? That would be eCTD. So why is eCTD so popular if it's compiled in expensive software? Well, one reason that it's so popular is that it organizes the information under standardized, internationally recognized headers. So in the example we have here, general information about your product would be divided up under the nomenclature, structure, and general properties headers. So these headers are also what are being used in the drug applications being approved by the agency. So both the applications and the master files would be organized in the same way. Another reason is that it's easier for a reviewer to look through an electronic submission. So they're usually made up of PDF files that have bookmarks and hyperlinks that make it easier to find certain information than looking through hundreds of pages of paper documents. Another benefit is that the agency receives the submission faster. If you have to mail something into the agency, you have to wait for it to be delivered by mail. And in most cases, the only confirmation that you're going to have that the agency received that submission is your own tracking information. But with eCTD and other electronic submissions, you will receive documentation that the agency received the submission typically within 24 hours. So because of all these reasons, most agencies have been requiring that submissions be done in eCTD format, and they've been phasing out paper submissions as well as other non-eCTD formats because the review is so much faster with eCTD. Master file holders filing a master file for the first time with Health Canada in eCTD format are required to submit a sample submission for each master file type. In addition, master file holders submitting a Type 2 or Type 3 master file in eCTD format for the first time must have a mandatory technical pre-submission consultation with the agency. So the agency has these requirements in order to work with the holder to make sure that there's going to be no major errors or deficiencies in the actual submission. Once the sample submission has no major errors, then Health Canada permits the holder to submit the actual master file submission. This process may take weeks or even months to complete, and there may be a lot of back and forth communication with the agency to get that sample accepted. However, Registrar Corp has already completed this process for Type 1, 2, 3, and 4 master files. So if we were to compile on your behalf, you can skip the sample submission and the technical pre-submission consultation entirely. So Registrar Corp has the expertise to prepare the submissions in the appropriate format. This saves time for your master file to be filed and for your customer to get their application approved with the agency. Health Canada also accepts master files for human and veterinary drug products. Master files used for human drug products only or both human and veterinary drug products should be submitted as drug master files. Master files used for veterinary products only should be submitted as veterinary master files. The requirements, such as acceptable formats and user fees, are the same for both human and veterinary drug master files. Once you have a master file, what do you need to do to keep it active? When new customers want to reference your master file, a letter of access should be submitted for each new authorized party. If the contact person changes, the agent changes, or the holder name changes, for example, an administrative update should be submitted to update the administrative information in the master file. If the quality information in the master file changes, such as updates to the manufacturing process or an addition of a new product, a quality update should be submitted to update the quality information. In addition, the agency may require additional information at any time. Typically, these requests are for information needed in support of an application referencing the master file. So the agency will send a letter with questions to be addressed, and it's important to respond to all of their inquiries in a very timely manner. So now that we have covered the basics of master files, we will provide information about Registrar Corp's solutions for master files. Registrar Corp is a trusted compliance partner to more than 32,000 customers in over 190 countries around the world. With 20 plus years in the business, we provide 27 services and software solutions to help industries be globally compliant. We are also the only one that is ISO 27001 certified, ensuring that your data is secure when you choose us as your compliance partner. Registrar Corp can also act in two capacities. For some agencies, we can act as your agent, where we not only assist with compiling your submission and submitting it to the agency, but we can also assist with relaying communications from an agency to you. As your agent for Health Canada master files, we can also assist with submitting the user fee payments to Health Canada to avoid any delays. Otherwise, for all agencies, we can act as your transaction partner, where we assist with the compilation of the submission and submitting it to the agency, but we do not handle any communications with that agency. When filing, we can assist with compiling a new submission or converting an existing filing into eCTD format. Again, converting to eCTD format makes it easier for the agency to complete your customer's application review process when they're referencing your master file. Once your master file is on file, we are here to help you with further compilations to keep that active, from deficiency letter responses, amendments, or authorizing additional customers to reference your master files. Our services are limited to an administrative review, where we ensure that the format of the submission meets the agency's requirements, but as a master file holder, you would be responsible for the content to be filed. As previously discussed, Health Canada uses FDA's gateway system to receive submissions. Setting up a gateway account may take weeks and can be cumbersome to set up. The accounts may also be difficult to manage when people come and go. However, Registrar Corp can compile and submit your master files for you, so you don't have to worry about these technical details as we submit it on your behalf. We also offer a secure MyFDA portal for our customer to easily access their submission files. So you do not need to create your own system to maintain your submission files. Instead, you can easily download your submission data that has been filed with an agency from our MyFDA portal. The system is also convenient if there are personnel changes within your company. So if the main person that's been handling the submissions leaves, with a proper confirmation, authorization can be granted to the new colleague being in charge of it so that they can access the files. That way, you do not need to worry about looking for files from a previous colleague or figuring out how to reach an agency to request copies of the files, which in some cases can cost money and very rarely receive a fast response. So before we go into Q&A, we want to highlight the various compliance services we offer, as well as the online training to help expand your knowledge base.
We appreciate you joining us today. We have a few moments for questions.
Okay, I see we have no questions yet, but please feel free to ask us anything. We do handle a lot of Health Canada submissions, and we've seen a lot of various situations that can pop up with them. So we do have one question here. Is the user fee the same if you add more than one applicant in your ASMF LOA? Okay, so if you have more than one if I understand correctly, if you have more than one customer who wants to reference your master file, you're going to have a separate LOA for each one, and you would be charged a fee for each letter. You would be charged 2 Health Canada user fees for LOAs. So I actually pull up my notes here. I have what the actual fees are at this moment, because they will change on. Is the user fee the same if you add more than one applicant? Okay, so if you were submitting an LOA for your master file, like just one, then you would pay 1 Health Canada user fee per letter. So it's for however many letters of authorization that you're doing. Okay, so are master files required for drugs? What about cosmetics? Okay, so master files actually are not required. It's optional to protect your information. So we've only seen it in like drugs and biologics. We haven't had a master file for cosmetics unless it's perhaps a combination drug cosmetic product, maybe like a sunscreen. Yeah, something that would have to be also a drug might use a master file, because master files are used to be referenced by drug applications that need approval. So cosmetics don't have any like applications like that need approval. Only like drug applications or, you know, biologics applications, things like that. One moment, I just want to mark these things as answered so I can keep track of what hasn't been answered yet. Okay. Holding a CEP, do I have to update the Canadian DMF? For example, if you submitted the original submission and you didn't have one yet, and you didn't have that information, there would be an update to update that information. I believe it's an administrative information. It's administrative update, but I would need more information in order to help. So you can contact us at info@registercorp.com if you need a little bit more assistance than what I'm giving you here, and we can give you a little bit more detailed response. Okay. Does NHPD accept master files for NHP ingredients? Okay, so I'm actually not sure. I haven't heard of that one, but that is a really good question that I would love to look into. So again, if you could send that in question to info@registercorp.com, because that's going to take a little bit more research on our part to see if that's something that we can assist with. Okay, are there any other questions I can help you with? See, I have a raised hand from Gordana. I'm going to see if I can click that. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, well, I'll give a few more minutes for questions and then we will close out for today. I tried selecting someone that raised their hand and didn't go through, so I think if you do have a question, you're going to have to put it in the Q&A, type it in the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to get to you. Okay, here's a good question. Who pays the fee, the holder or the applicant for the post-market variations and quality changes? Okay, so the holder is responsible. So either the holder or the agent can submit the payment. So if you have some kind of arrangement or agreement with your applicant that, you know, if they want you to make changes that require this fee, that they're going to pay for it, that's not something we would be involved in. But when you have that quality update, you are going to be responsible for that fee. Actually, I meant to give you the fee information earlier. So for new master files, it's $1,407 Canadian. A letter of access is $200 Canadian, and a quality update is $611 Canadian. And that's for now. Again, that's going to increase next year on April 1st. Or the fees for different quality changes. So the quality fee is the same no matter what you're doing, no matter how in-depth it is. Like you could have a quality update that's one section, one page, and it's still going to cost you $611. So no matter what quality update you're doing, it's going to be 611 Canadian dollars. Again, that fee is going to go up next year on April 1st. Okay, and we'll give still a few more minutes for questions. So if you had any master file questions, it doesn't have to be for Health Canada. We do assist with FDA, China master files, Australia, and all, you know, the European agencies. So if you have any questions for those two, we can try and help you. Is there a fee to file a CEP instead of an ASMF? Yes, there are fees for CEPs. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what they are, and that's something that we do not, like we help with CEP submissions, but we don't assist with any of the fees that are due for that. So yeah, you're going to have separate fees for CEPs. The changes to master files have to be submitted within certain time scales. That depends, especially like if the agency sent you a list of questions and they gave you a deadline to respond, then you need to meet that deadline. Otherwise, a lot of it can be just in regards to your customer and their application. So they're trying to get their application approved, and they have deadlines that they need to meet. And so that kind of puts pressure on you to meet certain deadlines, even if the agency doesn't. So that's just something you'd have to work with your customer. Other than that, let's see, for FDA, they do have these annual reports that they want to be submitted around the anniversary of the original submission, and they should be done each year. And if they're not done, if you haven't submitted one in 3 years, then they are going to send a notice that you need to submit that annual report within 30 days or they will close the master file. So stuff like that would have certain deadlines. And I believe China master files also have annual reports that are due each year. May would know more about that.
Yeah, it's due at the end of March each year.
Yeah. And then other than that, like if you have a customer and you gave them an LOA and they're going to go ahead and put it in their application, then you do want to kind of urgently get it submitted for your master file so that FDA can match, you know, or whatever agency can match up that in the application and the master file, there's the LOA, the same LOA, and then they can do their review. Okay, are there any more questions before we wrap up? You guys have asked some really awesome questions. It's fun to get some new interactions from people. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this call for today. Thank you all for joining. If you have any other questions that you think of later, just email us at info@registercorp.com. We do have a lot of services that can help you, so please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you all and have a great day.